Unsung Murder Ballads is a true crime podcast, and as such, we will be discussing topics that are disturbing, graphic, and often violent in nature. So this is not for children under the age of 13.
But you know this because you did start playing this episode. So here are some things you might not know about us.
We are going to be critical of mistakes made by both criminals and law enforcement.
We're going to express our views on things that you might not always agree with.
We will occasionally go on an off-topic tangent.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So if you're easily triggered, this might not be the podcast for you.
However, if this is your cup of tea, then raise your pinky finger while you sip and join us for this week's horrific case, you sick bastards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 169. I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
All right, so before we get into tonight's episode, there has been something in the news that we kind of need to talk about a little bit.
Oh, Lord, I don't even know what you're talking about because there are so many fucking things in the news right now.
Agreed, so
The thing
many
I'm like,
things.
I genuinely don't even know what you're bringing up.
Well, and I don't think you would be paying attention to past episode cases, so I'm not surprised.
You'd be right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm more worried about World War III, perhaps.
And you know what? That's a valid concern. So with that said, but that's not what we're going to discuss here tonight. So
we're not talking about mass murder, just individual murder.
Correct. We're not talking about annihilation.
Yep.
Back in episode 95, which was a roulette episode where each of us did 2 episodes that only lasted a little bit of time, you actually covered and presented a case about Letitia Stotch. This was
remind me.
Okay, I knew you weren't going to really remember it. This is a woman in Colorado who killed her stepson, put him in a suitcase, and drove him to Florida where she dumped the body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, apparently the appeals court has allowed her to have a new trial because one of the jurors was incorrectly selected because he was related to one of the people on the prosecution side.
Oh, that's definitely improper. That's definitely
Yes. So
against the rules.
So Stotch is probably, she's getting a retrial. Now, it's probably going to end the same way. But here we are.
Right, exactly. But she does have a right to a retrial.
Right. So even though
under those circumstances,
it sucks that they're gonna have to spend the money on this, but that's where we're at. She's actually going back on trial. Fun.
Yeah, it sucks. It's a waste of everyone's money. It's a waste of our tax money. It's a waste of just
all of it.
Yes, but I understand in cases like that why it's super important that you have a right to a retrial, because that is kind of bullshit and a major fuck up that they fucked that up in jury selection.
And what I don't understand is, what were they thinking? It's not like someone on the prosecutor side didn't recognize a family member.
Right, it's so weird.
It's not like it was your second cousin's ex-wife. You know what I mean? Like, you'd almost forgive that one.
Right, like if it was someone like it's like distant family, but we're saying it's like it was like close family.
It's unclear. There's not a lot of information on that. Yeah. All right, but I wanted to cover that before we dove in because it's fun when you get to go back and be like, yeah, this was almost 50 episodes ago.
Actually, yeah, that's wild.
That
was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, more than.
Holy shit.
Over a year? No wonder I don't remember it.
Actually, I have my little chart in front of me that aired. We released that in September of 2024. Yeah.
That was a different time.
I can't believe we've been doing this since March of 2023.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
3 years.
Jesus.
Wow.
What have we done with our lives?
Lots and nothing at the same time.
Right? It's fun. But so tonight, our episode is a follow-up on our last episode, which was the Chris Watts case. Just a quick recap. Chris Watts was a man in Colorado who killed his wife and children, tried to hide their bodies, and he was eventually caught and convicted to life in prison. That's the short of it. His case was pretty straightforward. But tonight we're going to discuss the mistress that he had, who was actually, in a weird way, she was the one who kind of buried him in the beginning, or that's how he got caught.
Right, right. She tipped him off.
Correct. So we're going to talk about Nichol Kessinger, and we are going to talk about a lot of the red flags that surround Kessinger. Because
Very interesting.
there's so many things that police didn't follow up on. Now, keep in mind,
Typical.
this is all circumstantial. There is no proof one way or another that she was directly or even indirectly involved. And a lot of this is speculative, but it's based on interviews that she did with police. They're based on things that were posted, things that came out after the fact. So there's a lot here. Now, I got to say, my main source on this, the thing that really tipped me off and made me dig deep, was another podcast called Serialously. And I think her name is Annie Elise. She did a really great job, and I would say I got probably 70% of my information from her.
Cool. Shout out to her.
Yeah, it's a really good, I think it was like 2 hours long. And don't worry, we won't be covering all of it. not the way she did. But
it's already a part 2.
Right. And this is she did, I want to say, between what she talked about Chris Watts and what she did for Nichol Kessinger, probably takes up at least 6 hours worth of stuff. So anyone who wants to do a deep dive, Serialously is a really good podcast. She does a great job. And she also has a YouTube channel called 10 to Life. So between those two, she has done a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I do want to point out that Kessinger did multiple interviews with police. Her stories were not always consistent, so it can sound a little confusing based on what she said and when. But I'm going to do my best to keep it all in as close to what what probably happened as possible. It's also going to jump around a little bit chronologically. I'm going to do my best, but there are certain things I don't want to talk about until the end, so I am going to kind of skip around a little just to talk about the more important things at the end. Okay.
All right, let's rock.
Okay. So Nichol Kessinger was born on July 3rd, 1988 to her parents Dwayne and Nancy in Colorado. She lived there pretty much her whole life until after the deaths of the Watts family. At 19 years old, she was arrested in June of 2007 for disorderly conduct in Aurora, Colorado.
Wait, remind me when these murders happened.
The murders happened in 2018.
I'm just trying to gauge her age at the time, but yeah.
Yeah, so now the interesting thing is there's not a lot of information about what exactly her disorderly conduct was, but she was 19. But something that I'm not really going to dive into but came up was there is a former student friend of hers who said that she had threatened someone and something that happened when she was either in her teens or early 20s. But I couldn't find any information outside of a Reddit post that talked about it. And we all know how Reddit
Interesting. Maybe it's on like a juvenile record or something. So
who knows? But because it's a Reddit thread, I didn't really give it too much credit.
Not really a reliable source.
Yeah, I'm mentioning it, but I'm moving on. So she graduated from Colorado State University with a bachelor's of science in 2013. And she started a career as a bookkeeper and later started working as an engineer. Over time, she became a contract employee with Tasman Geosciences, and Kessler and Watts became acquainted in June of 2018. And that happened when the company that she worked for basically signed an agreement with Anadarko Petroleum, which is where Chris worked.
Gotcha.
Chris Watts was not wearing his wedding ring in those days. So he was very clearly either already cheating on Shanann or getting ready to cheat on Shanann.
Right, yeah, or looking to, yeah.
Right. So he told Kessinger that they had already broken up, that she was his former wife, and that their divorce case would be finalized soon, quote unquote soon. And his and Kessinger's relationship started in early July. After Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico were murdered, Kessinger did voluntarily go in to speak to police. She had an interview with them on August 16th, 2018, and that interview was over 3.5 hours long.
That's a long one, I think. I don't know. Never been interviewed by police
To be honest,
about a murder.
I think 3.5 hours for anything is long, except maybe sleeping. Right?
Yeah, true.
But apparently, through most of that, she was just rambling and talking her way through it and basically trying to convince investigators that there was absolutely nothing to see here in regards to her. And she does it in a way that's kind of, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how else to explain it if you watch it. So she says that after meeting Chris in June of 2018, she didn't even know Shanann's name, at least at first. However, when police obtained the search warrant to go through her phone and computers, on her Google searches, they found her searching Chris Watts, his name, as early as August of 2017. But they supposedly didn't meet until June of 2018. And
plausible, right? It's one of those things where it's like plausible deniability, like maybe you're looking up someone you might work with, but you haven't met yet.
Well, and that's
you see him post something weird on Teams.
Or I was thinking, like, yeah, there was probably they knew that these two companies were gonna work together. She probably saw him, probably thought he was cute, did a search. That was my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. But however, she was also searching the name Shanann Watts as early as January of 2018. So again, 6 months before they started dating. Yeah.
Or before they met, you said, right?
According to her, they met in June of 2018, but she's searching Shanann's name in January of 2018.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's really weird. And again, maybe she did that search for him and then saw that he was married or saw pictures. It could spiral.
We've all done a weird little stalk.
Yes, we have.
On the internet before.
So it's more, why lie about you didn't know her name is the thing.
Yes.
So there are also reports that Nichole's father, Kessinger's father, was in he was in the interviews with her. It was like he was her lawyer. And so he's a former police officer or has connections to the police. And so he's sitting there, and there's a report that said he kept asking, quote, "If Chris confesses, it'll be the end of the case, right?" Unquote. So clearly he's thinking, I don't want my daughter to get in trouble here. If he confesses, we don't have anything to worry about, right? Kind of thing. I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who think that's why Chris Watts confessed so quickly, because he was basically trying to save Kessinger from being implicated. Right? See, there's some weird shit. And we're only a few minutes in here. So something else that doesn't...
That's for sure.
Yep. Something else that doesn't really add up is Kessinger said that she and Chris went on their very first date on her birthday, which was early July 7th, I believe.
Okay.
She said that it was right before Father's Day, Chris had told her that he had kids, which she apparently thought was really cute. And he also told her that he was separated from his wife. So she assumed he was a single dad. But Father's Day was June 17th of 2018, well before their first date.
Right. But this is when she said they met.
Correct. So I don't know. June. It's weird, but in my mind, again, if you're still going to lie about not knowing Shanann's name, the whole thing is weird. So.
Yeah.
But you're right.
All the different parts of it are like more or less suspicious.
Right. And I guess, what do you consider a date to be? You know what I mean? I've always hated that weird indistinction, because I remember there was a woman I dated. You'll know who I'm talking about. And she cheated on me a lot. And I remember,
yeah, I know you're talking about.
And I remember talking to her about two people we both knew that were sleeping with each other while cheating on their significant others. And I remember, so when I was getting the clues that she was cheating on me, I would ask her, like, hey, are you seeing someone else? And she'd always be like, no. So then after we figured out that these two people were cheating on their significant others, I said, I can't believe those two were seeing each other. And she said, maybe they're not seeing each other. Maybe they're just fucking.
Oh.
And that was the big light bulb over my head all of a sudden.
That she was like, oh, yeah, I'm not seeing anyone else. Well,
Yeah.
I guess you're closing your eyes while they're fucking you, huh?
Yeah, right? So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I always hated that ambiguous kind of language, too. It's like, man, can't we just have definitions of words that we agree on?
Right? So maybe their first date was in July, but maybe they were already involved. I don't know. It's weird.
Who knows? Or they were flirting, right? Because he's like, oh, yeah, it's Father's Day. I'm just spending it with my kids. I'm such a good dad. Totally
Right.
not going to murder them.
Well, so, exactly. So, now the funny thing is, Shanann had written a public tribute to Chris Watts on her Facebook page on that Father's Day. So,
wow.
If Kessinger is claiming she didn't even know Shanann's name before that, but it's also there's evidence that she was accessing Shanann's Facebook page and reading these things. So it's a little weird.
All a little strange. But also, I think if she had seen that on the Facebook page, she would know that they're still together.
You would think so, yes. So Kessinger also tried to say that after she saw pictures of Chris Watts' daughters, that she wondered why he would want to give up all of that, like his family. She said that it seemed like a beautiful life and that he had these beautiful girls. Why would he want to give it up?
Fair.
So at this point, she's claiming that she actually encouraged Watts to go and make amends with his wife and try to make his marriage work.
Damn.
So she's trying to portray herself as this like selfless person.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I was the mistress, but no, I was just really trying to save their marriage.
Yeah, I mean, I know he was sleeping with me and all, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bullshitty to me.
And she also tries to behave like their relationship was barely anything. Yet her phone logs showed that they called and texted each other nearly every single day. And Kessinger wanted police to believe that she was the one trying to counsel him to fix his fucking marriage.
Yeah, right.
So police asked her about collecting the data from her phone. And she responded by saying, quote, I feel like this situation is crazy regardless whether I give you my phone or not, unquote.
Yeah, typically I wouldn't want to voluntarily give a cop my phone.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there's nothing on my phone, but I'd still be like, who the hell knows how you'll misconstrue something?
Exactly. I don't trust him.
Yeah. But her father, after she said that, interrupts and he says, well, if you do, it's just going to reiterate everything that you've already said.
Yeah, now she's making herself look weird.
Right. So there are, from the Watts case, over 2,000 pages of discovery. Okay?
Damn.
And a lot of what we're talking about comes from those 2,000 pages. And Kessinger tried to delete as much as possible off her phone before she ever went into that interview with police. Yup. So she said in that interview that she didn't learn about Shanann's pregnancy until the newspaper reported it after Shanann went missing.
Oof.
However, computer records show that Kessinger frequented Shanann's Facebook page, especially where Shanann was announcing her pregnancy. She was always talking about it. And this is...
Yeah, this is an unwise thing for her to be lying about.
She also said that had she known Shanann was pregnant, she wouldn't have bothered to get involved with Chris in the first place. And at this point, one of the investigators, an FBI agent, stops her for a second to kind of ask her more about that. And basically he's like, hey, maybe that's motive.
Right.
And her father steps in and he tells the officer to stop asking leading questions.
Wow, she's lucky she has her dad there, huh?
Well, not only that, first off, he's behaving like he's her lawyer, and he's not. And he even calls the officer by his first name. He's literally like, Nick, stop asking leading questions.
Uh,
It's really fucking weird to watch that video.
that is really weird. It's a
Yeah.
little too familiar.
I mean, it's weird. He doesn't need to be there. He's not her attorney. She's not a minor. So why are they tolerating his presence?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah. Now, because Chris Watts confessed to killing Shanann and his children, police didn't get to the point of their investigation where they needed to verify anything independently because he had already confessed.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't keep digging. They said it was absolutely no reason to investigate Kessinger at that point in time because it wasn't a witch hunt.
Okay.
Which I guess is true, but if there's an accomplice, maybe look into it.
Right. But they're just like happy for their easy win because they got a confession.
Right. So again, we're going to move on to some other red flags and discrepancies that were outlined in this 2,000 pages of documents.
All right.
So going back to the first interview again, on August 16th, Nichol said that the second day of Shanann being missing is when she decided to stop talking to Chris because she thought he was being far too casual about the whole thing.
Okay.
She goes, that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt on the first day, because I was like, no way. Murder was not even on the top of my mind when someone just doesn't come home one evening.
Okay. Yeah.
But then she continued and said, then the second day I was talking to him and he was a hot mess. I could tell. And then with the way he was talking to me, and then she was like, I'm cutting him off, and I stopped talking to him. She's basically going, at that point I was done.
Okay.
Now, based on those pages of discovery, her final call with Chris was actually when she was suspected to have been listening in on a call with a detective.
Uh-oh.
Between Chris Watts and a detective. So this detective is asking Nichol, and we're going to get more into that. I mean, let me just say that. This is something we're saving towards the end.
Okay.
We're going to get much more into that because that's some weird shit too. So this detective is asking Kessinger about the seriousness of their relationship, and she's like, oh, I never had any intentions of moving in with him. It wasn't that serious, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She kept saying she wanted them to have their separate lives, that she didn't want it to be anything more than casual.
Okay.
So, well, we dig into some of her Google searches, and it turns out that she was typing things in like, does a married man marry his mistress?
Right.
And she spent 2 hours searching and looking at wedding dresses.
Well, did we talk about this last week where I was like, yeah, well, like, sometimes you just do that and you're just like kind of ideating.
Yeah, I get it. And I didn't say anything last week because I knew we were doing this week.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Like, listen, I've been on one date with someone and looked at wedding dresses and rings.
Well, Kessinger said that she didn't even talk to Chris at all on the 14th because she was mad at him. But once again, this proves not to be true because evidence proved that she actually talked to him several times in the early morning hours of the 14th. And that includes...
She's just really... maybe you should have told the truth.
Yeah, maybe. But, well, I mean, obviously she hasn't been arrested or convicted of anything. Because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about circumstantial evidence.
True.
So she tells the detective that she needed to bring something up to them because she had forgotten it previously. And this is during a second interview.
Okay.
She said that the night after everything unfolded, in one of their many phone conversations in the early hours of the day she said she didn't talk to him, that Watts apparently asked her what to do with Shanann's wedding ring. Yeah. So
because he's claiming they're already split?
So no, if you remember correctly, her wedding ring was left in the house. It was one of the things that after she went missing that were left behind. So
right.
He's trying to say that was evidence of her leaving him.
Right.
So on this phone call, he's asking Nichol Kessinger what she thinks he should do with Shanann's wedding ring. And she's telling police that he asked her this.
I don't think that's that crazy of a thing to ask, but
To ask your mistress after your wife goes missing for a couple days?
is it a couple days later?
This
I
at
feel
this
like right
point it's a
after it's like,
couple
oh,
days
my
later.
wife let me. Should I like keep this in case she wants it back, or should I go pawn it right now?
Well, and that's kind of all right. So you have that mindset. Okay, so that's kind of what he's doing. What she says that he's doing.
Yeah, that's what my assumption would be.
So
But obviously the circumstances are weird with it being a couple days.
right. And now the irony is that that's exactly what Kessinger told her to do. She was like, I don't know, go pawn it.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was weird that after only a couple days, he's already like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know.
It is weird, and we know that he killed them, so it's even weirder, but
I don't know. To me, and it's interesting to hear your thoughts because I was like, man, this woman should be in jail as an accomplice. But you're giving it a much more pragmatic view, which I'm appreciating.
yeah, I mean, just from the point of view of a breakup, like, I don't know, man. I've had really bad breakups, and I literally was like, I have this like semi-valuable item of theirs. Do I literally burn it? Like,
Fair, fair.
do I throw it in the trash? I have this piece of jewelry that they bought. Like, I had like a piece of jewelry that someone had bought me, and I was like, should I go pawn this right now? Like, I'm so mad. I've
Right.
had that thought before.
But again, you're not talking about your wife of X number of years that you've had kids with.
Right.
That's the I think,
I have not been in that situation. No.
right. So next, Kessinger told detectives that she contacted police to tell them about the affair because of how weird she was feeling about Chris's behavior. She wanted to be the one to come forward and reveal that they were having an affair. She wanted to be helpful. However, police already knew about their affair.
Okay.
It turns out that someone that worked at Anadarko had already called police and told them about the affair.
Okay. We got some useful people, huh?
Well, it turns out that someone else who knew that that person called then contacted Kessinger and told her that police already knew about the affair, prompting her to contact police.
And try to like get ahead of it. Be like, no, I
Correct.
totally separately knew, or like I just wanted to tell you this.
Exactly. Which explains why she tried to clear shit off her phone.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally. This is sus.
Yes. Police then asked Kessinger about the phone call that she made to Chris that she had deleted off the call list or whatever that was 111 minutes long the night of the murders.
Oh dear.
That call took place before midnight and before Shanann had arrived home at 2 a.m. When they asked her, Kessinger's response was, "Did I? Are you asking me? Are you telling me?"
Oh, that's suspicious, girl.
She said that they were FaceTiming, but she couldn't remember anything about what they talked about. She said it was just so much random stuff that she doesn't remember the details.
Huh. No, I think you would recall that, especially if they found out the next day that his wife was fucking missing.
Yeah, you'd think so. During this interview, Kessinger said that she had been to the Watts house on 2 occasions. She said that she didn't go there often because she didn't feel comfortable there. However, in an earlier interview, she said that she had never been there. But the next day, after learning that they needed her cell phone records, she suddenly remembered that, oh yeah, I'd been there a couple times. And
right, because her GPS is probably going to say she'd been there.
Right. So in a written statement that she wrote in September, she said that she had only been there twice, on July 4th and on July 14th. She starts talking about a trip she took to the Bandamere Raceway where she and Chris Watts had gone. But she stated she didn't remember until afterwards, which is why she didn't bring it up. But like she also said that she didn't remember what they did after that, but she thought maybe they went to his house. Now the trip to the
Girl,
Bandimere Raceway was on July 21st, which would have been a third time that she had been at his house.
girl, you're gonna remember the first time you're at someone's house.
She's all over the place. There's a
She
reason we're
is.
discussing it, right? I mean, it's sus.
Yeah, it's weird.
So we go back to the timeline of the murders, and Nichol Kessinger has no alibi for the time of the murders. And the
I
next,
mean, in theory, she's asleep, right? Like the alibi is I was asleep.
well, she also had a 111-minute phone call, FaceTime call with Watts, literally up
That's
until Shanann gets home ish.
that's true.
She also didn't clock into work the next day until 3 p.m.
Hmm.
And not only did she not clock in until 3 in the afternoon, but her activity while at work was during an extremely short window, which is also kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the morning of the murders. A neighbor reported seeing a truck that was very similar to one Kessinger owned, and the neighbor said he saw it outside the Watts family home.
Hmm.
Kessinger's phone pinged on a tower in Frederick, Colorado, which is where the Watts family home was, and it pinged there at 6:16 in the morning. Kessinger lived 25 minutes away. So why is it
So in
pinging?
theory, would not have pinged on this tower. Like she lives near a different tower.
Well, again, and that's just it. We've had situations like that in the past. We've talked about where there aren't that many towers, but normally when
Right.
she's at home, her phone is pinging on a different tower.
Gotcha.
So fill in the blanks.
Yep. Right, because she's not at work. It's not like she's having an early day and at work.
Right. And it's fucked up. So basically, and so far, in my opinion, I don't think she killed anybody, but I think she knew it was going to happen, or she was called to help at the end.
Yes. Yeah, that's
That
what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Now, her entire phone history was in Discovery, as we said, and her phone didn't make a single phone call the day of the murder until 2:26 p.m. in the afternoon. And because
So like right before she goes to work.
right, and because they can go back and look at her whole phone history, she basically makes at least one call every hour, every day prior to this.
Okay, she's a chatty Cathy, but except for this one day.
Except this one day. She literally, as they look back, there's never a gap. But here we are with this massive gap.
But I guess it's like this is her. She's not working.
Correct.
Maybe she could just call people.
Right. She's not at work. She's not making phone calls, and she has no alibi. And her phone is pinging near the Watts house.
Yeah.
So, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck.
It could very well be a duck.
Right. So she gets to her office around 2 p.m. that afternoon, and her phone shows that her next call is at 2:26 p.m. She made 2 other calls from her office, one at 2:28 and one at 2:35, back to back. Now, at this point, Chris Watts is arrested, and he is pleading guilty. And as such, Kessinger has no reason to be near his house for over a month after those murders. And there's not a single cell phone ping of her near his home. So again, it's showing that it only happens when she goes to his house.
Right.
Really weird. So we're going to go back to
Very
those
weird.
We're going to go back to those calls that she made at work. Right after making those calls from her office, one at 2:28, one at 2:35. Those phone calls were to her spiritual advisor. Which I guess it's like a priest, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either. Maybe a priest, maybe a non-denominational sort of priest. I don't know.
Well, he was a 73-year-old man named Robert, and some reports have his last name being as Izzardi, but I'm not 100% clear on that one.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I should include this part, so I will preempt it by saying this part may not be 100% valid. It's hard to verify. This spiritual advisor, one of the major features of his teachings is the practice of sex magic.
Hmm.
Now, similar to many secret societies, the membership is allegedly based on an initiation system with a series of ceremonies, and they all use some sort of ritual drama. So it's
Interesting.
weird. I couldn't verify that, and it shows up in multiple sources, though. So it's weird. I don't know.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah. So after she made these calls to her spiritual advisor, she immediately leaves the office. And she went to meet
Quick work day, huh?
right? And she went to meet a friend named Jim at her apartment at approximately 3:45 p.m. So she was there for less than an hour, maybe an hour and a half,
Weird.
right? Then at 5:01 p.m., Kessinger calls Watts twice, but both calls go unanswered. And she
'Cause
deletes
he's
she
booked.
deletes those calls from her phone log.
Hmm.
At 5:30, Watts calls her back, but that call goes unanswered and she again deletes that from her phone log.
Interesting.
Now here's where things get even more weird. At 11:09 that night, the night of the murders, after Shanann is reported missing, there was a 51-minute call between Kessinger and Watts. And it was
Hmm.
and it was deleted from her phone 8 minutes later, like 8 minutes after the call was done. Then at 12:09 a.m.,
Weird.
Watts calls Kessinger back and they speak for another 31 minutes. Then at 1:12 a.m., Kessinger calls Watts again and they talk for only 3 minutes.
Weird.
Then at 1:51 a.m., Watts calls Kessinger again and they speak for another 8 minutes.
This is weird.
It's sketchy. This next part is, I think, absolutely critical about this phone exchange because it leads many to believe that Kessinger was involved or knew something more than she was letting on. And detectives
Mm-hmm.
believe that they were trying to coordinate a story. And they would hang up and then one of them would think of something and call the other one back.
Plausible.
Weird. At one point, Watts and a detective were playing phone tag. This is before his arrest. They're playing phone tag. And this detective is calling Watts, and they actually connect, but there was like dead air, and so they couldn't hear anything. So he hangs up on the call, and then
Okay.
Watts would call him back, and the same thing would happen. There would be this weird dead air. So then he called
Weird.
Chris back again, and it just wasn't connecting. And this goes on for like 10 minutes. Finally, Chris Watts takes a break in calling the detective back because and this is on his phone log as well as Kessinger's, he calls Kessinger during this after that weird interaction with the detectives, and they spoke for less than 1 minute.
Weird.
Then Watts calls the detective back, but he calls the detective from his work phone, not his personal phone.
Hmm.
At this exact same time, his personal phone connects to a conversation with Kessinger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it is believed that he had that call with the detective on speaker with Kessinger listening in on his personal phone, because the call between Watts and Kessinger on his personal phone lasted the duration of the call with the detective.
Hmm.
So what the fuck?
Yeah.
They believe that that weird dead air exchange of them playing phone tag was basically Watts trying to figure out how to three-way in Kessinger into the call without alerting the detective that she was there.
Plausible.
And
Yeah.
and that he eventually just hangs up and calls her from his work phone and so forth and so on. So fucking weird.
So weird, but yeah, it's believable. This claim.
Right. Hours after Shanann was missing or what, what have you, Kessinger went in and deleted all of her search history and basically anything that had her name on it. She also tried
Interesting.
She also tried to destroy the SIM card from her phone before she gave it to investigators.
That's really, really, really sus.
It's just like, I don't know. I personally, we have a little bit more to go here, but I just think we have an accomplice after the fact at the least.
Yes.
And
like at a minimum, she's lying about something.
yeah, she's complicit. We're going to backtrack a little bit here. Chris Watts eventually ended up telling law enforcement that when he attacked Shanann that night, that at first he had tried to subdue her using oxycodone. And that investigators weren't able to understand or trying to establish how he had obtained oxycodone because he would never had it prescribed to him.
Interesting.
Now, he told them that where he got it from would remain a secret that he would take to his grave, and he never shared that information with them.
Huh.
So
he got it from Kessinger.
Most likely because, again, discovery logs from her phone shows that she was on the phone with him, and then the phone call disconnects, and she calls a clinic, talks to them for a little bit, and then calls Watts back again. When the transcripts were pulled from the clinic that she had called, it showed that she had called inquiring about how much oxycodone could be safe to take and how much would cause a miscarriage.
Huh. Yep. That's I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and this was done before she claimed that she's claiming she didn't know Shanann was pregnant until after she went missing.
Yep.
This call was made before that. So, yeah. Then there was that point in the Watts family story, where Shanann had taken the kids to North Carolina, but Chris Watts had stayed behind.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Chris did go out and visit the family for a little bit, but then returned alone. It is suspected that while he was there, he had secretly tried to give Shanann the oxycodone to induce a miscarriage, because at one point during his visit, she became very, very ill and complained about severe cramps.
That is really fucked up. Holy shit.
Again, all of this is circumstantial, but obviously after that didn't work, the plan obviously escalated from there.
Yeah.
After he returned to Colorado from North Carolina on August 7th, Shanann started telling her friends that Chris had changed his mind about wanting to have a baby, and she ended up canceling a gender reveal party that she had planned.
Oof.
Yeah. So, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
After Chris Watts came back from North Carolina, he and Kessinger just picked up right where they left off. And on August 12th, that's when they went on that infamous date to the Lazy Dog Cafe, where Shanann saw the charge for their dinner bill on their credit card statement and had confronted him later.
Oof.
Yeah. Now, this is another one of those things where I don't know if I should really share it, but I'm going to, because it's just so fucking weird. And this goes back...
All right, well then let it go.
Well, this goes back to my thing about, I don't believe that the date of their first date was really their first quote-unquote encounter.
Okay.
At some point in Kessinger's Google search history, before she went out on that date with Chris Watts, she spent 45 minutes Googling how to prepare for anal sex.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So, I mean, maybe that's a first date activity and I'm just really out of the loop. I don't know.
It takes all kinds. Don't have dinner first, Queen. There's your first hot tip.
At least not something spicy, I guess. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
That is a really weird thing to have to Google before a first date.
Again, a first date.
You know?
And that's why I'm suspicious that no, that wasn't their first date. or at least not their first encounter. But,
Yeah.
who am I to judge,
It takes all kinds.
Yes, it does.
It really does.
So, and it's a weird thing to share, but when I saw that, I was like, yeah, we're going to bring that up.
But it is one of those things where it's like, man, girl,
I don't get it.
if you're gonna do that on a first date and you're Googling that because you've never done it before, girl, there are other people to date. I swear to God.
Well,
there are so many other people in this world that won't expect that on a first date.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. No, that's really, really weird.
So a lot of people feel that the detectives on this case really handled Kessinger with kids' gloves, and it just doesn't make sense why they didn't look into her further. But we do.
Yeah, I agree.
Now we do have to talk about the footage and people suspecting Kessinger, because the night of the murders, some people think she actually helped Chris, which we just talked about a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as people analyze some of the camera footage from neighbors' door cams and things like that, many people believe that Kessinger can, in fact, be seen on some of that footage.
Oh.
Now, I went through it. I can't quite see what they're seeing, but I'm also just watching it on my laptop or my phone, so I don't have the high-tech whatever.
Right, and it's also like from security cameras, so it's probably not a very good footage anyway.
Right, but people are insisting that this person looks like there's a silhouette of somebody, and it looks like a woman. And again, it does kind of help figure out why her phone pinged there. She she wasn't involved in the killing, but just the cleanup, maybe helping him load his vehicle with them. It's weird.
Could be.
But I watched the footage. I don't see what other people see.
Yeah, sometimes we can see things because we so badly want to.
Right. I mean, and again, if she was there that late, it explains why she didn't go to work, why she has no alibi, why she's not using her phone.
Right, why her phone pinged.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, she made all those weird calls to her spiritual advisor and then dipped out of work to go to a friend's house. The whole thing's just fucking weird.
It is. It all doesn't pass the sniff test, that's for sure.
And then another weird, strange coincidence, weird thing. On August 19th, Kessinger did a Google search about Amber Fry. Now, Amber Fry is the mistress of Scott Peterson, and Scott Peterson was convicted of killing his pregnant wife.
Oh.
And literally...
Oh, dear.
One of the searches she did was about whether or not people hate Amber Fry and how much money she made on book deals after the fact.
Oh my fucking God.
So yes, these are all circumstantial things. We don't know.
These are all things that it's like, you could explain away by her being a weirdo, being morbid curiosity, but it's all together. It doesn't look good. And they should have looked closer.
And she has never been charged or even formally named as a person of interest. And she has essentially disappeared off the face of the planet since. The most recent
smart
thing
of her, I guess.
I guess. The most recent things I saw is apparently there was some video footage of her, I think in Montana at a wedding, and someone had a camera set up catching people coming and going or something. And people believe that she is seen in that video. I watched the video. It was a number of years after, so she was heavier. So if it is her, it doesn't exactly look like her, but it could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of all the places that I found any evidence of where she has been, was Ancestry.com.
Fascinating.
This shows her having left Colorado and living in other states, and the most recent one I saw was Florida. And apparently she's going under the name Nicole Miller. So.
Fascinating.
So yeah, did Nichol Kessinger have anything to do with it? I don't know. But I've said it a few times now. I do think she was an accessory after the fact. And her father's connection to law enforcement saved her ass.
Yeah. I think that's for sure. Whether she did something or not, she was certainly not investigated enough
No,
for just how much weird shit there was.
once he confessed, they were like, all right, case closed, shut the books, don't. But when other people went in and found all this, it,
Yeah, and I just gotta say, like, shout out to the people who are into like carrying justice as a hobby. Like that
right?
rocks. The people who spend their free time saying, "Hey, I think there's something fucked up here. I think justice has not been served." And they spend their time doing that. I think that rocks. So if any of you are fans of the show, if any of you are listening, I think you rock.
Yeah, thank you for all your hard work because that is where all my information came from. You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
it's crazy, and she got away with something, and hopefully, no one else ever gets hurt in her wake. You know,
Yeah, hopefully she's just the kind of person who helps out fucked up things and doesn't initiate them. But yeah, it is there's a lot of weird shit there that, at this point I don't know if they could even figure it out.
yeah, I don't think it'll ever. I don't think they're ever gonna risk doing anything to upset Chris Watts's conviction.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I think she got away with whatever she had a part in. There's nothing we can really do about it now. I don't think they'll ever commit the resources to it. But I mean,
No, no, and there's so many other cases and
exactly. So anyone who
so
has
many
ever
cases where nobody is, in prison for that are completely unsolved and
that's
it's
true.
technically not a cold case.
No, this is you're right. He confessed to doing it. The evidence is there that he did it. He
Mm-hmm.
probably did it alone. I think she was there after the fact, personally.
That's what it seems like. Especially I feel like the most damning piece of evidence there is the cell phone ping.
Yes. The 111-minute phone call before she arrived home, and then what? 4 hours later, she's at the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most suspicious thing to me.
So whether or not she knew it was going to happen, I guess, is the biggest question.
Right.
Because if she knew it was going to happen and didn't contact police, now she's an accessory.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's fucked. That's why I had to cover
It's
this one
really
after the
fucked.
fact. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think this episode is longer than the Chris Watts one.
Yeah, I think it ended up being. Yeah.
But there was just so much to sift through. And I didn't even cover
So
it
much
all.
weird shit.
I didn't even cover it all. That's the crazy part.
That's wild. Yeah, that there's even more of this stuff that, yeah, just looks very suspicious.
It really does. So,
And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume that this was a white woman.
of course, yes. Oh, yeah.
Of
And
course.
she
And then
looked,
she never would have gotten away with that. She never would have gotten, waved off by the police if she were not a white woman.
well, maybe if she was like a middle class or upper middle class black woman or Hispanic woman, and her father was also in law enforcement, like respected in
Maybe.
law enforcement. I know it's hard, but
But even maybe, it's like
right. But to be fair, Shanann and Nicole look a lot alike. As I
interesting.
as I was looking up images of them to post on our Instagram and our Facebook, I had to verify that it wasn't that when I posted an image of Chris Watts with Nichol Kessinger, that it wasn't Shanann. They
Wild.
look that much alike.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's fucking odd. But yeah,
Yeah, I
so
don't like that vibe.
no, not at all. So thank you everyone for joining us once again. I'm Janus Dead,
And I'm Joyous Dead.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.